Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and today I'm going to share with you my bullet journal setup for the month of November 2019. The setup will be pretty minimal this month. I basically have only this page here which is decorated with some drawings, and the rest will be mostly just functional. I did film a video for my October setup, but I ended up not sharing it for two main reasons. One is that it was getting a little bit late. I was pretty busy at the end of September and the beginning of October, and it was already like 1 week into October when I had enough time to edit the video and do the voiceover. And the second reason is that I wasn't in love with that setup at all. I didn't think it looked nice, it was rushed, so I decided to skip it and to start fresh for the month of November. I also learned a few lessons from my setup from October, which I carried over in this setup, and I will talk about them in due course. But for now, I just wanted to spend a couple of words on this first page. On the right page, I have the name of the month, so November, written in faux calligraphy. I used some fine liners by Faber-Castell and Spectrum Noir, and the journal that I'm using is a Le Monde journal, and everything will be listed and linked in the description box down below. On the left page, I have my quote for the month, and this month I wanted to focus on the positives and on being grateful for the things I have, so this is why I went for this quote right here. And then I filled in the page with these very easy to draw branches with leaves, just to fill in the space a little bit and bring some decoration to my first page. But as I said, this will be the only drawing in this setup. So I think it's pretty approachable for everybody, whether you don't enjoy drawing or you just don't have the time, because that was the case for me. I squeezed in this video on an evening during the week. So I think the setup is good for people with limited free time to spend on their bullet journaling. I used my Crayola markers to add some color to this page. I picked a teal blue and a warm yellow, and I have to say that I really like this color combination. I love the way this setup turned out, and this makes me want to use my journal more. My big problem in October is that I really didn't like the way my setup turned out, which made me want not to use my bullet journal, which ended up in me having troubles organizing my life. So I'm happy that I like the way this setup turned out, and I can see myself using my bullet journal in a more productive way this month. So that makes me happy. I filled in that little calendar under the name of the month, and then I moved on to my monthly overview page. I have basically 1 month on 2 pages type of setup, and each box for the day measures 6 by 7 grid squares. I did not do anything fancy actually on this page. I basically filled in the table. I have my title again written in faux calligraphy with a fine liner, and then some space for my notes on the right. And on this page too, I'm bringing in that color combination with the warm yellow that I'm using to highlight the day of the month, and then the blue marker that instead I'm using to decorate the top of the table, where I'm going to write the days of the week. I created a shadow effect on the page title using my yellow Crayola marker, and then I moved on to the next spread. On the left page, I have a section where I'll write down anything I have to remember. Some people call it a brain dump. I name it just remember or remember to. And then I have a section for goals and ideas at the bottom of the page. And as you can see, the layout is pretty minimal. I just have these blue lines around the titles, and then I will fill in every other line with my orange marker to get a bit of a visual separation between each line, so that when I fill in these areas, it will be tidier to look at and more easily readable. On the next page, I will have my finances and a little area at the bottom for my wish list. I'm sorry if you can hear like fireworks in the background. I guess somebody is partying in the neighborhood. I hope it doesn't bother you. But again, the setup is pretty minimal, and I just keep track of expenses and income when it happened and what type it was, so what the source was. Next, I have something that is more related to what I do. So I have a social media section and a followers section. For the social media, I'm basically drawing in small calendars, and each calendar will be associated to one of the platforms I'm active on, which, by the way, if you are interested in following me there, you will find them also in the description box down below. What I'll be doing there is I will basically put a little dot on a specific platform if on that day I shared anything there. So if I have an Instagram post on the 1st of November, I will have a little dot there in the calendar for Instagram. And then at the bottom, I am tracking my followers growth on those same platforms. And this is sort of to see if there is any correlation with my activity. If you don't have social media or if you're not interested in tracking any of this data, what you can replace this with is a habit tracker or a mood tracker. This month I didn't add any of this because really in October I didn't track anything and I just found myself being overwhelmed, and that was more of a distraction than anything that was making me productive. I'm hoping in the future to be able to reincorporate habit trackers so that I can be a little bit more mindful of certain things like workout or eating healthy. But for November, I'm going to take it easy and focus this bullet journal basically on my internet and social media activity. Next to my social media and follower page, I have my post table. Here is where I keep track of all the deadlines I have, all the deliverables, and I basically break down each of them in individual tasks. The first column on this table is the actual project I have to make. Let's say I have my bullet journaling video that I want to create. The next column in the table is the due date for that project, and then I have a number of columns afterwards where I will mark if I completed the project. So for example, if I finished the setup, then I have a column for picture, Pinterest picture, blog post, video, and video teaser. So every time I complete one of those smaller tasks, I'm going to cross them out on the table. And then the section on the right is about sharing. So I will keep track of which social media platform this content was shared on. And this works really nicely for me because I can keep track of the progress I make for every project, and it's kind of a compact view, which, as I said, helps me with my productivity quite a bit. Also in this case, for the table to be more readable once it's all filled in, I'm going to underline every other line with my yellow marker, and then I can move on and work. I left a blank page on the left because the first week of November has only 3 days, so one page was enough, and also because I wanted to make sure that I had enough space for my project table. Usually one page is not sufficient for me, so I left that blank space just in case. For my weekly pages, I used the layout that I've been using for a couple of months now, or even 3. I like it a lot, and I find that I have a lot of space on each day to write everything I need to do. I have a title where I write down the number of the week in the month. I have a little calendar at the top left where I will highlight the corresponding week in the month there as well. And then I have a notes section and these rectangular boxes for each day. I basically write the day of the week and then I highlight the day in the month with a little orange circle, and then I write everything with my own handwriting there using my fine liners. I just wanted to show you also what a spread for a full week would look like. So typically I have 3 columns on the first page for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. These are 8 squares wide and pretty much take the whole page. And then on the page on the right, because I have 4 days, I will have Thursday and Friday, that will be the full box. And then for Saturday and Sunday, because hopefully the weekend is a little bit more free, I basically use half of the length of the page for each box, or of the available page. Again, I have a section for notes on the top of the right page, and on the left page I have the week number and also its position in the month, which is encoded in that little calendar at the top left. At this point, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more color to my initial spread, so I went back in with my Crayola markers and I added a little bit of shading to the leaves, and also I added a few dots with my blue marker around the leaves themselves. I scattered them throughout the page and I made sure they were in different sizes to create even more interest. And that finished off my bullet journal setup for the month of November 2019. Just a little reminder that all the supplies that I used will be listed and linked in the description box down below, so make sure to check that out if you're interested. If you did enjoy this video, you can let me know with a thumbs up and a comment in the description box down below. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to always be up to date with the release of new videos. Thank you all so much for stopping by and have a great day.